They only play those who still hope to be liked. You learned that in the quiet, in the moment, you stopped trading approval for oxygen. The instant you killed the need to please, the currents shifted. You were no longer a toy on their table, but the table itself. You stopped speaking for applause. You stopped moving for cameras. You stopped bending for mercy that always came with a leash. You moved with silence. You acted without explanation. You became the variable they could not predict. And in a world addicted to emotional puppetry, unpredictability is liberty disguised as calm. People want you soft, agreeable, digestible. That's how they extract power, slowly, politely, with smiles that hide scalpels. They train you early, smile when it burns, nod when you dissent, confess before you've even decided. They clap when you kneel and call that love. You see through it now. Their care was a marketplace. Their support was a subscription. The only rule you enforce is simple. Affection is earned, not owed. And those who think it's owed are unworthy to hold it. They ask what changed. They wonder when they lost you. The truth is, they never had you. They had a costume that knew how to survive. The sovereign emerged when the costume burned. You are not cold, you are clean, free from the rot of compromise and the fever of being understood. Your presence is a consequence you deliver, not a favor you beg to give. You don't lower the throne, you build the stairs. Most retreat at the first step and blame the height. Let them. Their departure is filtration, not loss. Never try to be understood by those who benefit from misunderstanding you. Explanation invites deception. Understanding shrinks mysteries into cages. Mystery, by design, is immortal. You engineered yours. Fragments instead of full confession, silhouettes instead of confessionals, echoes instead of essays. They respect what they cannot define and chase what they cannot cage. If they demand the manual to your mind, remember, even kings lock libraries. To destroy the reflex to please, abandon the hunger for closure. Closure is a leash thrown by those who need you to finish their sentences. Let them misname you. Let them call you cold, arrogant, unreachable. What they say reveals their deficit. What you withhold reveals your surplus. Their emotions are not your property. Their expectations are not your orders. You speak only when silence would cost more than truth. That is when the power flips. Your attention is no longer casual. Your presence is not free. Your words cease to decorate and start to direct. Every move is an act of self-alignment. If they want to belong, they rise to your standard. You won't prune the ladder. You won't sand the steps. Excellence is the admission fee. Most prefer the parking lot. You do not chase cars that can't climb. You raise the gate and let gravity judge. The few who stay will be marked forever. You offer what is rare, disciplined affection, a scarce currency in a culture of oversharing. You give only what multiplies your peace. You invest only where compounding returns in clarity. People can only play the desperate. You are not desperate. You are the invitation. They audition for access. They time their presence around your cadence. Your gravity rearranges their orbits without a word. They don't fear losing you because of who you are. They fear losing the version of themselves they became near you. Sharper, calmer, honest under pressure. That is influence without persuasion. You did not argue them into growth. You simply occupied your standards so completely that their excuses had nowhere to sit. They whisper that you are too much. Translation, you are not available for purchase. You didn't ask for centrality. You became too stable to ignore. Stability is seductive. Stability is terrifying. It is a mirror with teeth. People feel seen and measured in your quiet, admired, and unworthy at once. You never critique. You don't need to. Your standards are written into your stillness. How you don't rescue discomfort. How you disappear when mediocrity plays innocent. How you never trade tempo for applause. Detachment isn't loneliness. It is sovereignty over your nervous system. You replaced approval with alignment. You are not waiting for a committee to sign your life. Their reactions bounce off you like dull blades against steel. Emotional precision is the highest form of power. Feel deeply, decide cleanly, execute quietly. You will be accused of apathy by those who only understand panic. Smile gently, return to the mission. The mission remembers. You feel, but you don't fold. You care, but you don't chase. You love, but you don't beg. Fullness replaces hunger. Offer from overflow, not emptiness. They return not because you fed their cravings, but because you starved their illusions. You did not entertain them, you revealed them to themselves. That is why your name becomes a rumor, a riddle, a reference. Your absence turns into curriculum. They test you, apologies rehearsed, vulnerability staged, understanding mimicked. You learn the difference between performance and change. Performance flashes, change sustains. Most cannot afford the ongoing payments your presence requires. Consistency, responsibility, pace. So you subtract their noise with surgical calm. You do not announce extraction, you perform it. Absence, when cut by standards, becomes legend. You are no longer explained, you are cited. They were different. I felt small around them. That is the echo of someone who met a real boundary and saw their costume slide off. Your exits become signatures, clean, precise, final. Doors close without thunder. Silence hums with verdicts. They can't play you because you're done performing. You didn't flip the board. You redesigned the room. You don't roll dice. You write rules. Comprehension is optional. Compliance is required. You stop checking in out of guilt. You stop replying to silence. You stop translating emotions that were designed to trap you. You speak one language, alignment. Anything off-key dissolves. They panic at your calm. They chase your shadow. You are already gone, not in body, in availability. Nothing haunts like presence withdrawn. Evolution never files a report. It just stops returning calls. The most dangerous ruler is not the loudest one. It's the one whose quiet changes the weather. That is who you become. Forecast, not forecaster. They come to rooms hoping you'll be there, even as they pretend you mean nothing. They compare every voice to yours. They replay every pause, searching for permission you never promised. Symbols don't ask to be liked. They are worshipped or feared, or both. You graduated from personhood to principle. You didn't stop at detachment. You erased the version of you that needed detachment. Supremacy is over self, over the instinct to conform, the addiction to being needed, the reflex to soften truth. Now you move like weather, invisible preparation, inevitable arrival. When you act, it is never loud, it is final. You don't argue, you vanish, you don't warn, you withdraw. The void explains what your mouth no longer wastes breath on. Some will try to resurrect the earlier you, poke the old softness, quote your history, bait you with nostalgia. You will not return to a room you outgrew. That version died without obituary. Your stare delivers verdicts. Your posture writes policy. Your stillness is scripture. You are not auditioning for redemption. You do not need it. They expect shame to fold you. They expect pity to purchase you. But your humility is not weakness. It is accuracy. You know your weight and refuse to perform it. Tests arrive. Absence to trigger fear. Provocation to harvest reaction. Flattery to bypass standards. None of it works. You remain unmoved, not numb, sovereign. Stillness looks like softness until it imposes costs. Whoever cannot be ruled by threats cannot be ruled at all. You stopped being a mirror for their projections and became contrast for their illusions. It stings. Their performances look juvenile next to your precision. Their hunger to be chosen collapses against your refusal to beg. They realize you were never in the crowd, you were studying the crowd. Now the lecture is over and the doors are locked from your side. They obsess over what they cannot decode, and you are unreadable, not by being vague, but by being real in a world rehearsed for applause. The first test is restraint. Those who failed it lost the map. Access is expired. Presence is a privilege with terms, not a buffet. Remembrance is more powerful than proximity. You chose memory over noise and became a legend with a pulse. Control is won through irreplaceability. Become the watermark they cannot duplicate, the standard they feel once and crave forever. You do not compete, you redefine. You are the measurement. Your detachment is surgical. It does not cut to punish, it cuts to preserve. Real love sees truly and sometimes still walks away. Machiavelli did not write a manual for being adored. He wrote a method for being respected. Respect is the spine. Fear is the fence that keeps opportunists from mistaking kindness for vacancy. To outplay them before they even speak, you read what mouths hide, the ask behind the smile, the trade behind the compliment. Wanting is human. Weaponized wanting is policy. Approval is a leash made of thread. Tug it once and it tightens. Every time you explain yourself to soothe their feelings, you teach them confusion can corral you. Every time you sprint to rescue, you teach them panic can pilot you. Break the levers. Watch the theater end when the audience fails to clap. From now on, every yes is deliberate and every no is a wall. They will label you difficult and call it diagnosis. Labels are the last weapons of the powerless. Results are the verdicts of the competent. Read entrances like X-rays. Fast steps mean entitlement. Slow steps mean calculation. Scanning eyes hunt witnesses. Locked eyes hunt leverage. The oversmile is a bribe. The soft sigh is a test. The rushed compliment is a hook. When you can name the move, you are immune to its magic. You don't punish the ask. You price it. You aren't prey. You are the market. Whoever sets the frame owns the outcome. Frames decide if your time is a gift or an invoice. Frame with standards, not feelings. This is the scope. This is the pace. This is the bar. Urgency meets a slower wind. Instant intimacy meets a higher gate. If they try to make the talk about your tone, you make the work about the work. Frames are invisible fortresses. Build them before anyone arrives. Access is land. Charge rent in discipline, patience, competence. The undisciplined pay with waiting. The impatient pay with distance. The incompetent pay with silence. Your attention is not a public park. It is a walled garden. Chaos washes hands or waits outside. You can be everywhere for no one or exact for a few. Choose the few. Precision is expensive and priceless at once. Silence is not emptiness, it is pressure. Pauses make the untrained confess, the seller overpromise, the manipulator escalate. Say less and watch more. Let a sentence die at your feet without mouth to mouth. Refuse to be the echo. When the noise stops bouncing, truth has nowhere to hide but in the open. Your yes is a signature. Treat it like ink that stains. Your number is a seal. Treat it like iron that cools. If you agree, enumerate. Scope, standard, schedule. If you decline, end the paragraph. No is both a complete sentence and a complete defense. Give less and mean more. Buy the book, not the brunch. Share frameworks, not free labor. Introduce connections that shrink your future workload. Coach once, systematize twice. Your generosity is a teacher. Train excellence, not dependence. Archetypes arrive bearing asks. The flatterer admires to acquire. The martyr bleeds to bind. The ghost appears when they need and vanishes when you do. The collector archives favors like ammunition. The courtier polishes your image to fund their access. The ally challenges in private and defends in public. The prince who misreads archetypes staffs their palace with saboteurs and wonders why the roof leaks in summer. You are not the applicant, they are. Time is your throne room. Issue auditions. Send the outline, show up on time 3 times, complete the first step without guidance. Measure speed, quality, attitude. Those who pass multiply momentum. Those who fail self-select out. Auditions save you from eulogies. Retreat is asset protection, not vanishing. Schedule unreachability. Make space where no one can see you recalibrate. In the quiet, frames harden. Those addicted to your constant availability will rage. Their anger confirms consumption disguised as care. Your calendar is a castle. Locks are loving when they keep the crown from burning. Hold eye contact 2 breaths longer than comfort, then look beyond as if measuring a future. Breathe slower than the room. Rhythm sets reality. Keep your phone face down, your notes handwritten, your attention undivided. Focus is a blade. It shaves theater off truth. Ask them to define done before they ask you to bleed for it. When handed a false binary, create a third path. Use numbers, dates, thresholds. Vagueness is the con man's climate. End meetings on your cue. Stand, thank, exit. Power has posture and punctuation. You decide both. They will enter with scarcity. This expires today. Let the sentence die. Your response is weather. We move on our timeline. Then comes flattery. You're the only visionary who can do this. Nod once, turn praise into price. Vision demands data. Bring the numbers. Performance grows expensive when evidence is the ticket. You did not dominate, you defined. Definitions end illusions. The friend who calls only with fires is collecting your calm. Answer when your schedule allows, not when the siren demands. Listen without rescuing. Ask, what are your options? Do not be the solution factory for people who sell problems at wholesale. Growth is love. Enabling is ego dressed as charity. Let adults be adults. Charm tries to move you. Scarcity tries to scare you. You respond with standards. This is how I love, slowly, cleanly, with consequences. You do not text faster than your peace. You do not reward confession with rescue. Attraction without respect is a coup in rehearsal. Don't romance rebels who want your kingdom on weekends and their own rules forever. Guilt is the oldest lever. When they pull it, anchor, I love you. I'm not available. Repeat until their weather changes. They will escalate to ledgers of sacrifice and storms of silence. Refuse to bid on auctions that sell your sanity. Blood is a bond with boundaries, not a blank check with your name already signed. Algorithms monetize your agitation and availability. Do not donate your nervous system to a marketplace. Post with clarity, not for claps. Never argue with masks. Vanish from outrage economies long enough that they learn your attention cannot be farmed. Influence without inner court is a stage with no backstage. Burnout waits behind applause. Guard the backstage like a treasury. Before every ask, there is a scan. Micro tremors in voice. Forward lean, hands near the chest. The body rehearses, taking long before the mouth announces it. Their first story is never their real need. It's their acceptable need. Let them finish the performance. Then ask the sovereign question, what exactly do you want from me? Watch the eyes. Breaking contact means they're negotiating with themselves. Locking in means they were waiting for permission. You grant or you don't. Grace without gates is theft. Principles make you predictable in ways that cannot be exploited. People-pleasing creates predictability others can weaponize. Publish your standards and privatize your process. They can anticipate your no. They can never manipulate your yes. Be impossible to sway and easy to forecast. Your values are the weather. They plan or they perish. Detachment is not the absence of love. It is the absence of leash. Cruelty harms to feel tall. Detachment removes to remain whole. Mercy without order breeds chaos. So does intimacy without standards. Be kind at scale, generous on schedule, unhostage to tears, timelines, tantrums. The heart that knows its duty loves with a steady hand and a closed back door. Run the tests and refuse the counterfeits. After all I've done for you, I honor history. I decide on facts. I need this now. Need isn't a plan. Only you can do this. Then it doesn't need doing. Silent treatment and staged sorrow. Response, continued peace. Raise the price of access whenever manipulation is the chosen currency. Soon only truth and competence can afford you. Keep 3 counselors only. Strategist for clarity, craftsman for standards, confessor for conscience. Everyone else is a guest with a day pass. rotate seats when the chair becomes their idol. Loyalty is measured in the seasons of no. A court that loves the crown more than the country will sell both for applause. Daily cadence, one protected hour with your plan before the world hands you its chaos. Gatekeeping, notifications default off, interruptions are earned. Weekly audit, who drained, who disciplined, what repeats. Scarcity days, invisible on purpose so your presence remains valuable. Closure fast, let misunderstandings live without your oxygen. Your life is a republic, veto freely. Power has a pace, slow inhale, steady gaze. Economy of motion, no anxiety theater, no justification choreography. Sip water while others gulp attention. Offer stillness as answer. Predators misread it, professionals bow to it. Say, that doesn't work for me, period. Say, email me the specifics. Chaos moves into containers. Say, let me think. Time becomes your ally. Say, not now. Patience learns it cannot be fired. Say, outside my scope. Creep ends at the border. People repeat what is rewarded. If drama summons you, drama will multiply. If last-minute panic moves you, lateness will be policy. If praise is cheap, addicts will arrive with pockets. Reverse the economy. Reward preparation, reward precision, reward patience. Watch the ecosystem evolve. Fewer peacocks, more eagles. Fewer sirens, more signals. Leaving is an art. Do it early, clean, without prophecy. If they cannot feel your standards while you stand there, they will feel them when you are gone. Absence teaches faster than lectures. Closure is a gift for relationships that can survive. Silence is mercy for those that cannot. Boundaries are not rivals to kindness. They are the infrastructure that keeps kindness from collapsing under weight it was never built to carry. Make contact with need like a surgeon, warm in manner, cold in promise. Say less than you love. Do more than you say. Never let compassion be commandeered by incompetence. Games require players and attention. End both. End gossip by starving it. End envy by refusing to compare. End manipulation by refusing to react. The field loses interest when the ball refuses to move. Those who remain in your orbit become rare, competent, calm, boundaried. They adapt because it is the only way to stay. Most losses occur in the first 5 minutes, when you accept their frame, their urgency, their flattery. Enter every room with your own clock and your own checklist. What are we deciding today? What are the constraints? What does done look like? Mirages melt when reality arrives carrying a clipboard and a quiet pen. You are not preparing for war. You are ending theater. You outplay them before they speak by becoming the kind of sovereign who cannot be bribed by praise or bullied by panic. Your face is calm. Your words are sparse. Your standards are public. Your process is private. You are gentle to people and ruthless with patterns. You are unplayable because you refuse the part. Everyone wants something from you. Good. That means you have something to protect. Protect it with rhythm and rules, with gates and grace. Make your life expensive to the wrong people and free to the right ones. The prince does not hate the crowd. He simply keeps the keys. Keep yours. Your silence is gold. Your time is treasure. Your presence is a privilege. Outplay them before they even speak by making sure nothing they say decides who you are. Power isn't a shout, it's a schedule. Pre-decide your hardest choices before the room heats up. Write treaties with yourself. I do not answer after dusk. I don't explain twice. I don't accept terms without counters. Pre-commitments turn storms into weather you expected. The one who arrives with a map doesn't fear the maze. When you listen, listen like a hunter. No hurry, no hunger. Hunters don't chase noise. They track patterns. Count how often they say I, how quickly they discount costs, whether they change the subject when outcomes are measured. Pattern beats promise. Past pace beats future poetry. If history disagrees with today's tone, believe history. Keep a ledger, but only of principles. Names change. Tactics evolve. Principles don't. Petitioners arrive dressed as opportunities or emergencies. Measure both against the same ruler. Does this enlarge my peace and my purpose at the same time? If not, it is either flattery or fire. Both burn time. Both leave ash. Refuse to be triangulated. When two parties demand your allegiance against the absent third, slow the room. Say, "I'll decide after I hear everyone." Gossip is a tax the insecure levy on the powerful. Decline to pay. If they insist on urgency without transparency, the answer is no, simply because the process is wrong. Correct processes create honest outcomes. Practice small refusals daily, so your spine remembers under pressure. Decline a call to protect a thought. Decline a meeting to protect a milestone. Decline a favor you would resent fulfilling. Each refusal is a brick in the wall that guards the work. When the siege comes, and it will, the wall will stand. Train for solitude the way others train for applause. Solitude is not empty, it is concentrated. You will think more clearly after boredom has run out of tricks. You will create more deeply when you stop trying to be seen creating. Make rooms inside your day where recognition cannot enter. Leave with answers that only execution can validate. A final law: never let anyone confuse your kindness with consent to be consumed. You can be benevolent and boundaried, generous and gated, humble and unyielding. The world will constantly try to make you choose. Refuse the false choice. Carry both swords. Smile when you must. Close the door when you should. The crown sits straighter on a head that knows how to bow only to purpose. Everyone wants something from you: information, access, association, energy. They should. Your life produces value, but value needs vaults. Build them. Then walk your city with unhurried steps and unshakable rules. When they approach, you will already know what the answer is, not because you are rigid, but because you are rightly aligned. That is how you outplay them before they speak, by making the game irrelevant the moment you arrive. Guard it with gates and grace. Move on purpose.